can you introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello, my name is Merita Fehmiu. I am a program manager here at Peace Corps Kosovo. I used to be a TEFL program manager at the time when we only had one project, and now that we are starting with the second project, which is called Community Organizational Development Project, I'm going to be the project manager for that one.
So when Peace Corps was invited to Kosovo in 2012, what did you know about the Peace Corps?
Honestly, I didn't know much about Peace Corps, and I didn't even know much about Peace Corps even when I applied for a job with Peace Corps, but I was so unhappy at my previous job, so I sent my CV, I sent my application, and months later they called me and they said, like, we are calling you, we want to interview, and I was like, where was that? I was like, please tell me, and yeah. So they said it's Peace Corps, and I was like, okay, I need to find out what this organization is because I'm going for the interview there. So I read about Peace Corps, and at that time the web page wasn't as informative as it is now. But I read about it, I came to an interview, and I think I did a good job first interview, so they decided to invite me to come back for a second round of interview, and then that was the time when I said I have to have this job because I put so much energy and time into it, so I really want it. And it was a challenging interview and also interesting and learning experience for me, so I really wanted to come back, and thanks a lot, I'm back.
Yeah, and as a Peace Corps volunteer who works with you, I can say you're great at your job, and I'm glad that you're part of this post. So when the first group of volunteers arrived, how many volunteers were there in the beginning?
So when we opened up the post in 2014, it was March 2014, we only received the first input in June, so we were also so nervous and so anxious about their arrival. So we got our first group in June. 25 Americans came to Kosovo, and there was so much pressure on both sides, even on those poor 25 Kosovans, because I think they were aware of the responsibility to be the first volunteers in country, and they wanted, they were aware of what that means for the future generations of volunteers. So laying the ground, and it was also for them. Once again, I have to thank each of the first serving volunteers in Kosovo, because I understand that it was very hard on them to be first group of volunteers. So they didn't also have currently serving volunteers or the PCVs to learn from. So they were the brand new ones and starting the whole new program themselves. But they did a good job, which then helped us receive 4 more inputs in country in the following years and have many more organizations involved, because they started a good legacy and good.
Yeah, I'm at a site where there was a Coast 1 volunteer, and I think people still talk about her, still talk about the work that she did, how nice she was, and so I thank them too. They did a lot of hard work. I can't imagine being the first group of volunteers.
Yeah. They were all wearing like ties and smart clothes, like for most of their PST, because I think they were so scared that they couldn't relax at any point, even during the PST. So yeah, but they, as you said, like they, and the country is so small, so the word spreads quickly, like bad or good. So yeah, they learned that fast, and they did a good job, as I said.
So you've been with Peace Corps in Kosovo since the beginning, so you've met a lot of volunteers. Do you have like a favorite story that you've heard from one of the volunteers? Maybe a funny story?
Oh gosh, I have so many stories. I mean, like, there were over 150 volunteers that came to Kosovo in these 5 years, and we're expecting another 40 or some this summer. So there have been lots of stories, and also like happy and but also sad stories. But I remember them. Try to remember each of these stories, and I'm so worried that I will forget them because there are so many of them. So I'm looking into every opportunity to talk of these stories. So they stay with me forever, and then I want other people to learn about this story. So whenever I come home, like my family asks me, like, okay, tell me about your Peace Corps volunteers. Like, what did they do today? And so I tell stories. I like telling stories, but right now I'm like. The funniest stories are those of language misunderstandings, especially during the PST when Americans are still new to Kosovo. They don't have enough of a language, but they try and they want to integrate as early as possible into their host family. So they make a mistake and use a wrong word for, and then it becomes funny. So people, those are the funny stories, like using the language which you don't have for certain things, and then these situations that are created.
That still happens all the time. What is the part about your job that you love the most?
Meeting new people, and that's what you do here in Peace Corps. Like you meet so many new faces, new people, being Americans or locals. Like it's always new people and new energy that comes in. So that's what I like, and I also like learning about my country as well. So I was surprised how much I learned about my country by working in Peace Corps. Really, because I was like living in my little bubble, so I didn't know much because I didn't get to travel around and like meet people, like in Dragaš, for example, or I don't know, like even Kamenic was so foreign to me. So with Peace Corps, I got to travel almost every corner and meet many nice people, learn their culture, like traditions, and most of which I didn't know. And the same goes for Americans. I mean, like I also had my bias about Americans, like what I've seen in the movies or songs. So I met few Americans before I got to Peace Corps. So now I know all these Americans. I know more about America. I have now many American friends and whom I hope to meet sometimes in future.
I've heard a lot of staff members say that before they started working for Peace Corps, they would never have gone to a place like Dragaš or Planjane, Dečan, and so it's really cool that even in like your own home country, you're still learning new things and getting to visit new places. So are you from Kosovo, born and raised?
Yes, I am from Kosovo, born and raised in Pristina, which is the capital city of Kosovo.
So what languages do you speak?
I do speak Albanian and Serbian. Those are both my native languages, I would say. My mom was Bosniak, my father was Albanian, so yeah, I speak both languages
perfectly.
Fluently. Yeah.
You don't need to be modest.
Then I speak some Turkish. I've lived in Istanbul for 3 years, and some English, which I'm learning every day. Yeah, never stop learning. Yeah.
That's amazing. Can you tell me an interesting fact about yourself? Something, maybe we have some listeners who are coming to join Peace Corps Kosovo in the summer. Anything you want them to know about you?
Okay, I have a dog, 8-year-old dog, a Labrador Retriever, whom I love a lot, and I walk him every day, no matter what, from 5 to 7. So every day at 4:30 I leave the office, no matter what. So I rush home because Romeo is waiting for my afternoon walk, and he knows that it's his time, so I have to be home by 5. So every day 4:30 you cannot find me in my office at my desk. I'm done.
That's so great. And maybe we should say that here this is not really a culture of owning dogs in your home. It's not so common, at least where I live in Kosovo.
Yeah, definitely it's not. And my dog lives in the apartment, and that's even less common. So even if people own dogs, they usually leave them outside, but inside. But people, I think, are starting more and more to pet dogs, and which is nice. Yeah. Dogs are
The best.
best friends.
Well, so the sixth group of volunteers is arriving this summer. So what kind of preparations are you doing right now?
Okay, so we're expecting some 40 new Peace Corps volunteers to arrive this summer. And as I said, we are starting a new project, which is Community Organizational Development Project. We are 3 program managers. The other 2 are TEFL program managers, and they are also traveling around and visiting schools and trying to identify possible sites, new sites for volunteers. And that's also what I'm doing on the other side. On the other hand, I'm visiting different stakeholders, different NGOs, different local government institutions, and trying to promoting the project and the opportunity, this unique opportunity to work with the Peace Corps volunteer. And since it is new, it requires a lot of travel and talking to people, bringing people together, explaining what the opportunity is. And you know this better than I do. Peace Corps is still new to Kosovo, and this is such a unique organization that cannot be compared to any other organization, because whatever you get from Peace Corps is for free, and we do people rather than money, and that's completely different because
it's sort of a foreign concept.
Exactly. So it takes a lot of work, but on the other hand, like, people are amazed to hear about this opportunity and to learn that they can work hand in hand with Americans, like, come on, in their little cities, in their little villages. So I'm like, people who we talk to are usually very energized and enthusiastic and want to join. So
that's
we are,
great to hear.
as I said, like, collecting preliminary information. Later on, we'll try to do site matching. So see what volunteer match best the needs of particular communities. So try to do that, but that will come later at a later stage.
I think what's really great about this coming group of volunteers is that we are adding, like, the new sector, because Peace Corps has many different sectors, but I think the one that most people think of is education, which mostly up until this point we have been an education post. So with the community, the COD, what is the O for? Organization. So the community and organizational development sector, like, what do you see those volunteers doing in the communities that they work with?
So the volunteers will be basically liaisons in the community and bringing different stakeholders together, working in the youth development or gender equality sector. So working either with the youth in the community or women, building their employability skills, bringing their civic engagement, and also capacities of the organizations they work with. So there is so much Peace Corps volunteers can do, and that's laid out clearly in the framework. So there are, I call them boxes, so 3 boxes of different sets of activities they can do with the organization, with particular groups, and then with the community as a whole. Service learning activities with the community, volunteerism activities, and so on and so forth. Other than that, we encourage intersectoral cooperation. So we also see so many opportunities for TEFL volunteers to collaborate with the COD volunteers, run employability clubs for youth or for women, because TEFL volunteers work in schools, they already have their students, so they can bring those to the COD volunteer, who will then train them on their employability skills and so many other things. So that's a potential we see with the new project as well. Then many English language clubs for their community. It's magic. I mean, like, what Peace Corps volunteer can bring. But these are some, like, this is a framework to start with. But in my experience, no volunteer stays with what we tell them to do. They do more usually, as you personally did, like you, James, and you did this great B project, which was definitely not in your scope of
not
work.
Related to TEFL
not related
at all.
to TEFL, but as Americans, you are really often motivated and creative, and bring new ideas to the communities, which that's, I think, what lacks the most in Kosovo. Like this, new ideas, and because people are sometimes like tired and they get stuck into their
Right.
bubble, so bringing some fresh energy
Yeah.
and ideas.
I think that's one of the easiest parts about being a Peace Corps volunteer. Sometimes just your presence or just your encouragement can be enough to spark a little bit of more motivation or change that already exists in the community, but it just takes like a little bit of a push to like get it out there. So that's really exciting to hear. What do you love the most about your country? What do you love most about Kosovo?
I love, and this is what I recently discovered, the diversity of my country. I thought, I didn't know how diverse it is, and it is only when I started working with Peace Corps that I realized, talking to volunteers, how diverse Kosovo is. So it can be, I mean, like even 15 kilometers apart in between two villages or two cities doesn't, I mean, it can often means that these two communities speak different language, dialects, have different traditions, even different religions, and so on. So I never thought of that because I'm from here. So to me, Kosovo is one. So we all, speak same language. If it is Albania, this is Albania. I never thought that there are so many dialects. If it is Serbian, that there are also so many dialects. So learning about those experience and that diversity, it made me appreciate my country because I love diversity.
Anything else you want to share or talk about? Anything else you feel like talking about?
I just feel like I have to once again thank every volunteer that has served in Kosovo, because I think I wish that 350, 400 millions of Americans know what the great people have been here, and what a great ambassadors you are, like, of your country and of your people. So you do great work, and people love you here and appreciate every moment they spend with you. So I'm honored to have known each of you, and we'll remember you forever.
Yay.
Thank you.
Okay, I hope that
Sorry,
everything sounded good. Let me see.
I hope you record.